Hey fam, by the time you see this, it will be Friday. Happy Friday to you. Many people didn't know that Queen Sugar did not have a new episode last week, so they definitely had one this week. So we're on episode 5, and this episode begins. So Nova continues her relationship with a character that's played by Cree Summers, um, who's basically invited herself on Nova's book tour along with her. And I have to say this because I love Cree Summer. If y'all don't know, she was on A Different World. Look her up, Google her. But what I do not like, I don't like the dark colors on Cree. Cree's a light-skinned woman. She's getting up there in age like the rest of us. And you have to learn what works with you. And in real life, she does not do this. I follow her on Instagram. If she wears makeup, which she really doesn't need, she does it proper. It's like perfect. Anyway, I do not like the darkness of the hair, the darkness of the colors. I believe it makes her look older than she does in real life. So I'm not a fan of the makeup they have going on with this woman on the show. All right, but anyway, she invited herself on Nova's book tour. And Nova gets a phone call at this point letting her know that she's been shortlisted for the National Book Award, and she is so happy, like excited, and she seems really hopeful about this. And basically, Cree's character comes up to her and in a very nice way downplays the award, basically telling her you're enough right now, blah blah blah, this. And yeah, sure, if you don't win an award, you want to walk away with a positive attitude, thank you for the experience and blah blah blah, but we all want to win an award. There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, from here we see Darla and Ralph Angel, and they're talking, and they've decided that basically they believe that Blue needs therapy, so they're going to go ahead and follow through with that. And then Charlie signs up. She officially signs up to run for office, and she sets up her campaign team here. And when she's setting up her campaign team, the people that are going to help her run for office, Prosper is there, and he greets an old friend who's come to help, basically, an old friend of the family, and her name is Lady Genevieve, and she's a pretty older lady, like Prosper's older, and they seem very happy to see each other after all these years. Then we see Romero. He sets up Charlie basically to meet the pastor at his church to appeal to the Latin community, basically. Now, mind you, Charlie's already done her bit of work as far as the Latin community is concerned, but she needs to get everyone to rally behind her because that's the best way for her to get into office, to shut down this highway. All right, then we see Aunt Vi at home, basically, and it's obvious there that she's still going through changes after Jimmy's whole surprise visit. She's not at all back to herself. That's what you witness here. Then we see Nova is being interviewed. She has an interview over her book, and Cree Summers' character conveniently makes her way into this interview to drop off a drink or something, and the interview is like, oh, how do you know her, blah blah blah, which basically opens the door to her sitting there and getting in on this interview. And the vibe I get with Cree Summers' character is that she is a writer, she is an activist in the Black community. She's a professor, an old professor of Nova's, and she's not as out there as she used to be. She's not as poppin', if you will, in the community. And it almost seems like she sees this as her chance to get back in there the way she used to be. She can get on the come up with Nova and make something for herself. That's what this feels like to me. Anyway, she ends up making her way into that interview. And the interviewer brings up to Nova that her sister is running for office. And Nova didn't know this. Let's not forget, there's not a single person in her family who talks with her. Nobody's messing with Nova right now. So basically, the interviewer brings up that she's running for office, and he asks Nova basically if she feels like her activism has inspired her sister to run for office. And at this point, Cree steps in, and she more or less agrees. as the interviewer has suggested that Nova is part of her influence, stating that Black Girl Magic is more of a continuum, meaning we pass it on from one to the other. And I do believe that's true. And I don't know, maybe in a normal world we can agree to that, but right now Nova probably shouldn't be saying anything about Charlie. I don't think she's helping her. All right, then we have Vi. She's on the phone call with the doctor, and she's trying to figure out basically why she is shut down in the bedroom. Like, her sex drive gone kaput. She's trying to figure out what's wrong with it. And the doctor's basically asking her, have you had any trauma, any surprises, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, actually both. So basically during that conversation, they figured out why she doesn't have a sex drive. All right. Then we see Nova is in bed with Cree, and mind you, they're fully clothed, about to go to bed, but they're talking, and she's basically discussing her family with Cree, who refers to her family as biological accidents, stating, would your sister be your friend if you weren't sisters, if you weren't related? Would your family members be friends of yours if you weren't related? For a lot of them, no. They probably wouldn't be. That's the difference with family. I have a relationship like that with my sister. We don't get along with a lot of things. What you learn with your family is that you love, love, love them. You hope the best for them. You pray for them. You get together whenever you can. You hope communication both goes way. You hope communications goes both ways for each of you. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. You just have to know that you'll come back together eventually. You'll love each other. And you don't want to lose too much time in there. But you don't want to just look at your family as mistakes either. That's a real screwed up way to take your bloodline and refer to it as. Okay, then we see Micah's not so much of a girlfriend anymore. Kiki, she brings a book over to the house to drop it off to him. I guess he needed it. And he wants her to go with him to visit their friend that got locked up. And she basically declines, she doesn't want to go. And he's like, well, I thought we could talk. And she's like, I don't feel like it. Michael needs to drop Kiki, okay? I realize he's gone through a whole lot of changes. I realize that fight he got into earlier in the year was not attractive to her. But she's ghosted him. She has nothing to do with him. Get rid of her, okay? Then we see Hollywood and Ralph Angel are talking. They're having a discussion about the highway that's supposed to be taking place, and they're wondering if it's possible for Charlie to actually stand up and be able to stop this from happening. And in the same breath, Nova's book comes up, and they both throw shade at it. She's done nothing but brought problems to their lives, both of them. That damn book. All right, then we see Charlie. She's at a gathering. And I believe Romero refers to this as a carne asada barbecue, basically. It's a gathering. They're eating, there's dancing, music, blah, blah, blah. All right, so Romero is basically explaining this to Micah, what the gathering is, how it happens like weekly. And he goes and gets him some food, all right? And when he comes back, Charlie and him are sharing looks at each other that are like, there's a little sexual innuendo that going on there, and Micah feels it, okay? And he's like, okay. All right, well, I'm about to go over to so-and-so's house because he's really not trying to be around for this. And so he excuses himself, says his goodbyes, and he leaves. And then Charlie goes over to meet the Pastor Martinez, the one who Romero had set it up for her to have an opportunity to meet with. And basically, he isn't so welcoming to her. He knows she's a politician. He knows that she's not from that area, and he's not a pushover. He's not dumb, all right? He greets her, offers her food, whatever, but he lets her know exactly what he thinks. All right, from there, back over to Nova. We see her at an event, and she's talking with a few white women about her book, basically, and one of the women lets her know, girl, I was rooting for you with that white guy. What was his name? And she's like, Calvin. And she says, now come on. You knew that wasn't going to work with that married man. Oh my gosh. I didn't know Nova threw herself under the bus with this one. When we were thinking about all of her dirt, I thought she left this little part out of her precious book. But she didn't. She put her full self on display, and I'm glad. I mean, at least she did that. And at that point, you also see Cree steps in, and she states to the woman who made the comment, she said, now, who hasn't dated a white married man before, right, ladies? And they all have a little laugh, and she pulls Nova away. And they end up going off to the side, and she notices an editor over, in her eyesight, and she goes over there and she's talking to her, and Nova's close enough. Basically, she's moved a little closer. Cree's not aware, and that woman has basically told Cree, I want to offer Nova this editing position, blah blah blah, for this magazine or whatever. And she's telling her, oh, that's not really her type of thing, but it's right up my alley, and I'm looking for my best product. So she shut down Nova in this opportunity, basically, and stepped her foot into it. Like I said, it seems like she's here trying to get on the come up of Nova. All right, so the lady basically tells her that we're not looking, they're looking for a fresh perspective on this. Meaning younger, okay? Because Cree's character is quite a bit older than Nova's. You can see this here. And at that point, the lady gets a phone call and she walks away. And Nova steps up to Cree and she's like, what was that all about? And she's like, oh, I was just singing your praises to her. And we do have a lunch date tomorrow with the dean of students, blah, blah, blah. And Nova's just like, She heard the whole thing. She's not stupid. All right, so then we see Charlie and Romero. They're still at that little gathering thing with the music, and they're sharing a slow and passionate dance. This is a good time for them, basically, and what Romero is really good, and Charlie expresses this, tells this to him. I just love how you accept me. Like, I feel like you are here for me, like you're not trying to change me, you accept me and you support me. And she really loves that. And the next thing you know, they're in a room and they're finally end up getting it they get it all the way together in the bedroom. Finally went down between Charlie and Romero. Then we see Nova, and she has gone to get a drink at a bar at the hotel, and she got a text message from Cree like, I'm here with the dean, where are you at? And Nova completely blows her off, doesn't respond, nothing. And then we're back to Charlie. It's the next day, and Charlie has gone back and returned to where they had the gathering the night before, and she's speaking again to the pastor, and she's expressing her desire to have the Black and Latin communities work together. And he's like, I would like that too, but that's not what has been happening here, basically. And through their conversations, they both see eye to eye, basically, on the importance of these two communities working together, while others, as long as we're fighting each other, others are prospering off us, point blank, period. We do all the white work, and those who have a higher hand in the game get paid more money for it. We have to work together to stop this cycle. All right? So then we see Vi, and she's at home, and Hollywood shows up, and you hear this loud motorcycle, go off in the front, and she opens the door, and here comes Hollywood in his leather jacket and his helmet, and she's like, now, I know you did not go out there and buy a motorcycle. And he's like, yes, I did. Anyway, she's not happy about it, but she accepts it. And at that point, she ends up telling him basically that she spoke to the doctor. And he's like, I know something's wrong with you. I just need you to tell me what it is. And she's like, it's because of Jimmy coming back, and I'm not okay. And I need some time, and I need some space. And he almost immediately is understanding. And he goes so far as to reciting some of their vows, in sickness and in health, rich or poor. He's breaking it off. He knows, damn, I need a Hollywood. We all need a Hollywood. We need one of them, okay? Because damn, they do not make them like that man anymore. And then we see Nova back at the hotel. Her and Cree are packing their stuff, basically, and she's telling Cree off, basically, because Cree's like, you just blew me off, and blah, blah, blah. And she goes so far as to tell her, I know you stole that opportunity from me as far as that editorial job. And Cree replies, so says the woman who threw her family under the bus for a book. And she says, I made you. I found you. I saw you. I spit shined you until I got the backwoods stink off your thinking. That's what Cree said to her. We would have fought. It would have gone down physically in that room. We would have connected. Okay, damn. She's a writer. I'll give it. She's creative. That was damn. Okay. Anyway, Nova realizes right at this point, and she says it basically. She's all, I've outgrown you. She tells her, I respect you, who you are, where you came from, but I've definitely outgrown you, and she's factual with it. From there, we then see Prosper and Lady Genevieve, and they're doing paperwork together at Charlie's headquarters, basically, for the campaign. And they're talking. It's very smooth conversation, and you see the little chemistry there. They're catching up, and they're a little bit flirtatious. And I would not be shocked if this goes on to something sweet. Then we see Charlie and Romero, and they're also there at the headquarters, and she's holding up one of the posters, and they're looking at it and, deciding what they think about the poster. And at this point, right next to them, somebody throws a brick right through the big glass window, and a piece of it pops up, and it cuts Charlie on her neck, and she is shook. Okay, she's like freaked out. He has to sit her down. She's like, what if Prosper was sitting here? What if... She's just in a moment, and she's like, I didn't realize that running for office was going to be a possibility of putting anybody's life in jeopardy. And at this moment, Romero's being a man, y'all. He's there, he's bandaging her up, and he's like, you do know who you're running against, don't you? And he was like, I need you to remember this. This is who you're running against, and you remember what you're fighting for as you go through with this. It's literally like he took all of her fear and anxiousness and doubt and bottled it all up and threw it back at her in a form of strength, in a form of support for her, behind her, beside her. She got a good one, y'all. I'm like, damn. Okay, anyway. From there, you see Nova making a phone call to Charlie, and of course, it's a missed phone call, and she's leaving a message, and it's a congratulations message. She's like, I'm so happy that you're running for office, and she's like, I'm so proud of you, and I love you, and I miss you, and she's like, give my love to Micah too, please. And she hangs up, and Nova is sad, y'all. She is very, very sad. She's heartbroken, and I don't feel sorry for her. Not yet. I don't know, one day, but not right now. All right, then we see Charlie's at the rally, and she's speaking. She's announcing that she is officially, to everyone, letting them know she's running for city council, basically, and she's screaming out that it's going to take more than a brick coming through my window to keep me from doing what is right for our parish. And we see Micah that's there, and he's snapping shots with camera, and she thanks Councilman Herrera for her support, and that's the end of this episode. This is a really good episode, y'all. I love where this is going. I really hope Charlie wins here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like my videos, please hit the like button, y'all. Say something. Leave me a message so I know that you watched, okay? And see you next time. Become a subscriber, too. I need some, okay? Bye.